Okay, so I just wanted to share with you the multi-step stamping for this holiday style stamp set from Sunny Studio. I am doing the bell, which is these 3 pieces right here, and I just wanted to show you quickly, this is the result that I got just using the stamps right out of the package. I mentioned in my previous video that when I use the bow, I'm using these Alt New crisp inks that I just got, and the ink kind of pooled up on the stamp, which gives kind of this blotchy look. And the ink does spread out a little bit as it dries, but it doesn't give you the look that you're wanting here. So I have sanded them down. I didn't sand this one yet, just so I could show you guys. Just want to get in frame here. And I'm going to put a piece of paper underneath so that you can see. Might be hard to see, but you can tell that it's like shiny. And all I'm doing is using this old nail file that I have. One side is a little bit more rougher than the other, so I'm using the soft side. And I'm just putting it flat right down on the stamp and going gently back and forth. And as you do it, you can see it's starting to get cloudy. So you can tell that that is just filing off the finish on the stamp there, which will help your ink stick. So you just want to do it. You can tell the middle still isn't done yet. This one has a bit more image space, so you want to do it. You don't want to use the rough side until you have it across your entire stamp. Alright, so then when that's done, you do want to clean your stamp off because there's some dust there. And then I'm just going to take my lightest color . And already you can tell that you get a much crisper image and more solid. So that's the first layer. Now I do have to look this one up. I'm not sure if you're supposed to use this one. I figured this one was for if you're wanting to do a Christmas bulb instead of the bell. But the colors that I have might be a little light for this. So here's the second one. And it does just get a little bit, takes a little getting used to get them lined up in the right spot. So for this one, there is the top of the bell. Hope I don't get my head in the way here. It's kind of hard when I can't look straight down on it. There we go. And then the last one. Going to be my darkest ink. And this one has like just a little spot. If you can line up your star in there, and also the top. It's a little hard to see. Hard for me to see. I see that took too long to, my ink pulled up. Try and get it on there again. There we go. So once you get the feel for it and get it lined up in the right spaces, but there's the difference, excuse me, between just straight off this brand new stamp and using your file to clean off the stamp before using it. So very cool. I might need to try and find some different colors to make it more silvery looking. I was not able to get the fourth color in these grays inks was not available, so I was only able to get 3, but I think if I had the fourth one I could use these 3 and it'd look a bit better. But alright, so there you go. That's how you do your layered stamping. Okay, so we're back to the bells. So again, here's the first one that I did without sanding the stamps down. The ink did not stick to the stamps, so it didn't give a nice crisp look. And then this is the one that I did myself with using an acrylic block and trying to get the layers in the right spot. So I've brought out my Stampaholic Nano and I've lined up the 3 layers of stamps. I pre-cut some papers here before I got started. So basically what you want to do is just line up your first one and stamp it off. So I'm gonna, again, I'm using Alt New Crisp inks. I have Morning Frost, Evening Gray, and Moon Rock. So what I decided, since the Morning Frost is pretty light, I stamped it off twice. So there's the first one. Get back there. And the second one. Get a nice little bit of a darker color on the end. So then I went into this corner, and once you have that one stamped, you can just take your second layer and basically just line it up on top here. So that you get it in the right spot. And then we're going to go to the next ink. It's a good idea just to pat it on there. So there we go. See, it's lined up a lot better. And then for the third one, I just picked a number in here, so I lined it up with the number 4. I did the same thing with my stamp, just lay it on top till you get it in the right spot. And then there we go. I don't think my second layer was in the right spot. Still turned out pretty cool though. Alright, so then they are all lined up and you can just keep stamping more. Let me just clean them off because I have a second color here. So the other set that I have is Sand Dunes, Rocky Shore, and Mocha. I do have the Espresso for this one also, but we only need 3 colors for the bell. So I'm going to start with my lightest color. And then again, move it over here. Let me see. Yeah, this one needs to be moved. Apologize if my head gets in here. Okay, so then our second color. That's better. third one is lined up with the number 4. And then we have a copper bell. So this is what it looks like when it dries. Super cute. Okay, so I received a lot of comments on my backgrounds for these cards. So I'm just going to show you guys how I made them. I used Canson XL watercolor paper. Just picked up from my art store. I had them pre-cut with this stitch die. This is from one of the blueprints from MFT. So I already have them already pre-cut and die cut like this. So I have some here. Just set this aside, and I used these 3 inks. So Shabby Shutters, Mowed Lawn, and Peeled Paint. So it's a couple of steps. The first step, we're going to make a mess. I have a craft mat down here on my table that I use all the time. It's just gray. It's kind of like the same color as my table, so you can't really tell most of the time. So I'm just smooshing them on randomly onto my mat, wanting to get a bit of each 3 of the colors in random spots. And then I just have my spray bottle. It's just a distress sprayer, but it doesn't matter what you use for this because you just want to get some water down there to react to the ink. And then you're going to take your watercolor paper and smoosh it face down into your ink. So pretty much you just want to play with it until you get the look or the colors that you want. And this part doesn't really matter. We're going to stamp over top of it. So each one will kind of have their own different distinct look. Just adding some extra water in here. And if you run out of ink, then you can just start over again and start smooshing them down in there. If it gets too plain and you just want to dab it down into the puddles and then you get some different looks, I'm just going to use this one to kind of mop it up. Just swirl them around. So you see how it's just pretty plain just from swapping it around. So just get some splashes in there. And then I'm just going to wipe this up because I have one more left to do. So I'm just going to add a little bit more color in here. I'm going to take this one because it was one that pretty much got like one color, and get some more in there. Alright, so clean this up, and then we want to dry these panels. You can leave them to dry or you can heat them up, it's up to you. Alright, so this one is pretty much my favorite out of these ones, so I'm going to leave this one to dry a little bit more, and I want to add some more to these ones just to get some different looks. So I'm going to stay away from the mowed lawn for this one, just because it looks like that's the majority of the color that got on there. So I'm going to do the peeled paint, that's my darkest, and then my shabby shutters. It's the lightest, but it's got like a different look to it. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to dry these up and I will be back. Okay, so I'm back with my 4 panels. Each one is kind of different in their own way. This was the one that I said that was my favorite, still is. I had just set it aside and not done any other colors to it other than drying it up. This one here looks like a hot mess, but when it's done it'll still look really good. So they're each different and unique in their own way. So let's start off with this one here. And I have the Sunny Studio Holiday Style Stamp Set. This is the pine branch that I used. So I just have it here on an acrylic block. And again, I have my 3 ink colors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is the Shabby Shutters. Then I'm going to move to the mowed lawn and then the peeled paint. So I'm just going to do it in order. I'm not going to worry about letting them dry in between or anything. So basically just inking up my stamp. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because this is just background stamping. So you can see how this one just gives a really light look to it, which is perfect because it's kind of to look like different layers of the tree branches. And you can twist it and move it as you go, just to still keep them all in the general direction. There we go. And then I'm not even cleaning off my stamp in between. I'm going to go to the mowed lawn. The Distress ink does kind of pool up on these stamps. But again, it's okay because we want that watercolor look. And I'm just going to do some in here to fill in the edges. And then lastly will be our peeled paint. You can just fill in wherever you think you need some in there. Alright, so that is the first one, and I will start to ink up all these ones. Okay, so all my panels are stamped and they are dried. So now I am taking my distress sprayer and I'm going to gently spritz them to get some water so I can give them that more vintagey look. Just trying to get so I can see there. Let it sit for a little bit. To let it pick up the color. Do its job. And then I'm going to take some clean paper towel and just pick up that water. There you go. So the panels are all done. My little tree's ready to get some ornaments and decorations on them. Just gives you a really nice vintage tree look. Okay, so I'm back with my finished cards. I stuck with the bells on these ones pretty much because I wanted to use the sentiment from the stamp set that says believe in the magic of Christmas, and I embossed this with a black glitter embossing powder, which is old from my stash here. Actually, you can't even see. I think it's like Something Whisper. Something Whispers is the name of the company, but it's just black sparkle embossing powder. So I used my little powder tool first on the papers and then stamped the sentiment with Versamark and put the embossing powder on them. And then I also used, I was gonna tie little bows, but my fingers weren't working. So I actually used this Fisker's bow punch that I purchased from, it was either Hobby Lobby or Joann's a while ago. I love the cute little bow that it makes. So I just grabbed some little scraps of Christmas paper that I had sitting here and made up 4 little bows. I did ink the edges just with some distress ink so you didn't see like the white paper edges. And there's the stamped sentiment in there with the glitter. And then I added a couple of sequins, and then I used the Nouveau Crystal Drops. These ones are from Jamie's shop. The glitter ruby slippers. I did purchase those from Jamie, so I added in quite a few to make it look like more decoration on the tree. So there's that one. This one, I love how they turned out. They're just like a vintage kind of look to it. And the bell looks so real. And the believe in the magic of Christmas to me is the best sentiment to go with the bell. Kind of reminds me of Polar Express with the bell, where if you can hear it ringing, you believe in Santa. Jonathan loves that one. Yeah, so those are my finished cards. I hope you enjoyed the tutorials on doing your layered stamping and also the background for this card. So give it a try. Don't forget to check out the Not2Shabby shop. Leave a comment and subscribe. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.